Struggling with prop firms? Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today it is a Saturday. Today it's gonna be going over. By the way, if you've not seen my video where I passed 25k, sorry, pretty much super quick. Obviously the message is always gonna be is start small. Passing it super quick. If you've not seen it, do check it out. But today it's a Saturday, right? So markets are closed. But I want to just go over for anyone who missed out on gold opportunities and where possibly gold could go next in the upcoming week. Obviously, where I just want to make something very clear, whatever I say, gold, I mean, at the end of the day, market's going to do whatever the hell it wants. But what we can do is react from what market is showing us, and then from there, just, taking our entries. If we lose, it's at the end of the day, it's just a game of probabilities, like the great Mark Douglas says. And that's what we're just doing. The main thing is we need to have an edge. We need to have risk management, and if you apply correct risk management, it doesn't really matter when you lose. You can have a very low win rate and still be profitable. So without wasting any time, now gold obviously pretty much on Thursday tanked, right, to say the least. There were early signs, right? Now what was the early sign? Well, pretty much if you know market structure, that's how it looks. So market was obviously gold, which is making new highs, right? Higher highs, higher lows. Where the mini little ones here, pretty much shooting all the way up here until it breaks its own, if you want to call it support, its own higher low, and then there's a little bit of a shift. Now normally in a perfect world, when structure does this is normally an early signal of a downtrend, right? In a perfect world, does it happen always? Because what's always going to win at the end of the day is, it doesn't matter if you get the perfect entry signal, doesn't matter if you get a perfect entry signal pattern, right? I'll give you an example. If you look over here, right, the trend is always going to win. The trend and momentum volume is always going to win. So look at this, price even down here was making new highs, higher low, new highs, higher low, new highs, right, higher low, and then it stops here, and then what does it do? It breaks its own support, it breaks its own higher low. Now again, in a perfect world, this would be an early sign that market could possibly reverse. What does gold do from here? Boom, straight through again. Now excuse me, at this point a lot of people might be wondering, even let's start taking sells from here or from this resistance over here. This is why I don't sell from resistance unless there's a breakout, and I don't buy from support unless there's a breakout. So price obviously shoots back up. So if anyone taking sells from this point, you would have got screwed, right? Literally burnt. So I'll just move myself away from the screen so you can focus better on the charts. By the way, link in the video description if anyone is interested in joining the one-to-one mentorship. This is the students posting their winning trades, losing trades, everything, funding certificates, everything's here. I'm also, there's also a course for only £99. Link will be in the video description. You can access it through the Discord community. Everything will be there. So let's get on without wasting any time. Let's get on with it. Okay. So now that obviously, we've just continued to making new highs, right? Now this is where the market, this is where people get, I think personally, burnt alive, right? Well, their money does it. Price has done that twice over here. Now down here, when you think, you know what, it's going to do the same thing to me again, and it'll just break its own highs and just continue going up. But in this case, so you take you avoid the sell from here because you think, I would have gone to sell from here. I got screwed twice. Price is eventually, I'll take a wait for a buy because it's going to break its own high again. And what does it do? It tanks this time. So this is where if people call it manipulation, people call it, I don't call it any of that. I don't like going too much into that because all you're going to be left with is a headache, stress, all that. What's going to save you from this? Taking two losses down here. I don't know how I'm using my hand because you're taking two losses down here, and probably taking even another loss. It's your risk management. That's what's going to save you. If you have a decent risk reward, a decent win rate, that's what's going to save you for scenarios like this. Now, let's just say, and what you're supposed to, if you are a reversal trader, But this is why you're supposed to always stick to your strategy, right? If you're waiting for a reversal just because you lost here, it doesn't matter. Reversal strategy, you know, just because you take a sell from here, you lost here, doesn't matter. Because eventually it would have worked out in your favor and you would have made it all back. But the point what I'm trying to make over here, the early signs that we got, basically price failed to break its own highs down here. There's a resistance new high, it got respected. Another one, look at this huge bearish candle, which basically, look at the range that it covers from here to here. Well, even if I cover the wick as well, and I don't know why I've used this color. Let me change the color, make it yellow so it stands out a bit. From here, from the high of the wick to the low of the wick of this huge bearish candle, it dwarfs pretty much all this area, you know, except for this one here, but these candles sticking out, but all this area gets dwarfed. So this bearish candle, now when a bearish candle does this, call it bearish engulfing, you know, when it does this, you know what this tells me? All this area here where the buyers were acting big and tough, they were fake. It doesn't have any value. This tells me when there's a bit of a consolidation market, bit of a fight going on, tug of war between buyers and sellers, when sellers eventually won, all these buys here in my eyes become void, right? So the real area where the real price actually got the highest to was where this actually falls and complete. So about up to here, because price starts making new highs here as well. Well, not new highs, but new candles start getting high, these wicks here. So all this, you ignore it, and this is where actually gold made this actual maximum highs, this area, just to simplify things, right? So now obviously price is, you know, a lot of more. Now obviously after this, if you're trying to buy, if you're still trying to buy, I wouldn't really blame you, simply because this major support level is still not broken. But you know, these are the kind of moments, there are moments where you buy, there are moments when you sell, and there are definitely going to be moments where you just stay away from your computer, your iPad, tablet, phone, whatever you trade from, you just take a step back, right? And this was definitely that moment. Now here, look at this, all these zones, all these walls, whatever you want to call them, it's getting just absolutely, imagine this price as a car or as a train. We call it a train, is breaking through all these barriers, coming all the way down, right? Now you could have gotten on board with some of these, right? With some of these, not all of these. So let's go on the much small time frame, because it's all about dissecting. And okay, so look at this. Now price obviously is closing below here, but on a bigger time frame, these are just wicks. You want to see candles where they actually close below with a significant like from here, because price already came down here and then just shot back up. So me personally, you know, if price came lower down here again, I would have started selling, because like, wait a minute, you might just trick me, right? You might just fake me out. You came down here once before, but if I would have gone for a sell, you know, you're absolutely getting burnt. You need to break now this level, right? Look, it comes down lower again. If you went for a sell, you just went back up, you would have hit your stop loss. You need to break this area for price to come, you know, and eventually when it does, and look at that, it just absolutely melts, and if I go on a much smaller time frame, let's go might go on a 2 minute, but let's check that 1 minute out. Let's see what the 2 minutes showing. Yeah, 2 minutes, but I mean, just again, look how fast it's melting. These are 1 minute time frames. It's just absolutely melting, right? Tanking. Price breaks through. Now I can dissect this. It's crazy. Now any of my students who are watching this, right, are on the bigger time frame, probably possible entries, but this would have been a beautiful, if you would have actually been able to get an entry, this would have been a beautiful melt off. Price, look at this, holds us support, breaks through, comes back up, test this area. You can pretty much even enter some of these. Now you either want to be waiting for a bearish engulfing dark cloud cover, which you can see here. Now what do I mean by this? A bullish candle forms, we obviously maintain resistance. None of these candles are breaking above, and plus we're just going lower and lower, right? Even these wicks or these candles, we're just going lower and lower. And even if you look at it from here, let's mark this out, right? Price is going lower, we're just making new lows, and we're getting this, I can't remember what it's called. Is it a bearish flag? I can't remember what it's called, right? Or a pendant, I can't remember exactly the name of it. But when price starts coming, it makes it look like we're going to start going bullish, then boom, it just breaks through. So those breakout traders, you could have even just gone for a sell from here, right? Not that this is not how I trade, by the way, so make that very clear. Breakout here, stops above this trend line, and a melt off 1 to 5, nice and easy. But you can get this dark cloud cover bullish candle. Then you got your bearish, but then the third candle dwarfs the previous two candles. You got your dark cloud cover. Take your trade from there. Stops above here. Now that stop loss is way too big for my liking. And then 1 to 4, still not bad. But any of my students, this is like a 80 pip stop loss, is it? And obviously, any of my students watching again, everyone knows I use pretty much a 25 to 30 pip. My biggest edge, and obviously that's why I show my one-to-one mentorship. And in the course as well, my biggest edge is my zones. You take away my zones, you take away my profitability. Very, very simple, straightforward. I don't want to make this video too long because markets are closed. It is a Saturday. If markets were going live right now, obviously we could have just do a little bit of step by step. So market just obviously starting to just correct itself now because okay, why? And if market normally tends to do this, because if I go on the much bigger time frame, the much bigger time frame, overall we are bullish, even though small, like, I mean, but look at this though, right? What is the major structure? The major structure is this area. It's not even broken. It's still not broken, right? Price is very well, you know, come back down and look at this little bit of structure as well. Test this area, or even test this area and just shoot back up, right? This does not mean we are looking for sells. Now I want to mention something about trends and time frames, and people don't realize how important this is, and it absolutely boggles my mind. We are now on the 10-hour time frame. I like to break it down about every 2 hours sometimes. We're on the 10-hour time frame, right? Just because we are on the 10-hour time frame, or the daily, or the weekly, or the monthly, which I'm sure is going to show bullish as well on the daily. Obviously, gold is making all-time highs. Weekly, I mean, look at how insane that is. For the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, 2 months. For the last 2 months, you know, there's not a single bearish candle. That's how bullish gold is. It's insane. Let's go on the daily. We are obviously some days gold has been a bearish, but overall, obviously, there is no stopping this train as of this moment. Anything can happen in the future because a crash could take place. Anything can happen. But anyway, I'll come back to the point I was making. Just because we are bullish on the daily, that's where people go wrong, right? Does not mean you start buying on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, even on the 1 hour, right? And what do I mean by that? Unless it's from key areas of interest, key valid zone point, you can still lose. You can still lose. Just because you got the bullish bias on the daily or the weekly does not mean you will win your buys on the hourly, right? Because the daily time frame and the weekly time frame, there's such huge time frames. The 1 hour time frame is going to feel like little specks, right? If you took entries on the 4 hour time frame, maybe, or the 6 hour, it could work. Yes, overall the train is bullish, right? And if you took buys, you're gonna win more buys than sells, no brainer. But where people go wrong is if you're a scalper but you're looking for your bias is bullish because of the daily time frame, you're a lunatic. Because if you went on the 1 hour time frame, the amount of times the mini trend, because there are trends within trends, the amount of times, look at this, on the 1 minute time frame, we are It's only bearish. The trend is only bearish, pretty much in this area, right? And you're looking for buys because the daily is bullish or the weekly or the 4 hour. This is where people go wrong. You need to adjust the time frames according to your needs, if that makes sense, right? So if your entry is the 1 minute time frame, 30-minute bias, 1 hour maximum, maybe if your time frame is a 1 minute, you know, if you check out the 15-minute, 30-minute, because you want to look at it like this. If you're in the 15-minute time frame and your entry is on the 1 minute, right? How many 1 minutes going to 15 minutes? There's 15 candles. How many 1 minutes going to 1 hour? That's 60 candles. 60 candles is more than enough to let you know the bias. Well, it should give you an idea, right, of which direction you want to go in. What I'm trying to say. If you're on the weekly and the daily time frame, could you imagine how many 1 minute candles could go into that? I don't even want to know. Now, and you're asking why you keep losing. Oh, the daily bias is bullish, but I'm losing on the one. I'm taking buys on the 1 minute time frame. I'm still losing. I don't care if you take, even if you take one buys on the 5 minute time frame, you probably just still get screwed. It's gotta be aligned perfectly, and that's what's gonna. Obviously, I go into a lot more detail in my mentorship. You know, it's not just I touch on psychology of trading as well, just because of the experience that I've gained over the years. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. You know, I never claim. You know, I'm just giving. I can only share the knowledge I've gained. Now I'm a bit of a, trying to be a bit of a perfectionist, a bit of a, you know, because whatever, like, I just eat, breathe, sweat, bleed trading. To simply put it, right? I mean, it's a Saturday, so weekend. I'll still probably throughout the day just spending easily 3 to 4 hours on the charts. And when back in the days when I was, you know, trying to make this work, I spent easily 12 hours, 16 hours. I used to literally have my breakfast, dinner, everything on the charts. So like, subscribe, comment, share. If you want to join the one-to-one mentorship, just join the Discord community, send me a message, or you can get yourself a course only for £99. It's a lifetime access. Course gets updated regularly. You never have to pay again. Yeah, so take care. I'm out.